Greetings, friend. Do you want to become a Sudoku expert in the fastest way possible? Then keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to use this amazing desktop tool called Hodoku. Best of all, it is free. I'm also going to show you a little bit later the best feature it has about it to learn any new strategy. Also going to cover some cons to be very fair about what it can and cannot do. All right, first thing you need to do, type in Hodoku in the search, and it'll pop up with this swords4.net link. That is the Hodoku website. And this is a great website done, and it will show you can go right here to download, and you can download the latest version. So download that version, run it on your desktop, and away you go. Also, while you're on it, you want to check out some of these user manuals. It will actually give you plenty of great tips on Hodoku, like some of the things I'm going to show you, as well as some definitions about some of these strategies so you can understand what it is you're learning to do. Okay, when it pops up, it's probably going to look like this, nice and blank. And so there's a few things I'm going to show you, and that'll help it make it a little bit easier to load a puzzle. You can generate a random one, but I'm going to show you first how to load a puzzle that you've already found and you want to figure out how to solve it. So go to these options and you want to click Show All Candidates. This is going to make it easier for filling in the grid. And then you want to go here to the Preferences. And the one I use is called Alternative Mouse Mode. Once you get Alternative Mouse Mode, you can do a one-click on a candidate, which is these little numbers, to solve a cell. It's going to be a lot quicker to fill this grid in. Other things I like to do is show Sudoku solved message. So when you do finish a Sudoku, it pops up and tells you Sudoku is solved, which is kind of nice. If the font looks a little different to you, you can go in here and you can make it bold, a little bit more chunky, or you can just leave it regular. This will affect it if you intend to print the puzzle out. Same thing with the candidates. You can bold them up and they will look a little chunkier. So like I do that, you see how this is bolded out. Okay, so those are the two main things I do. I don't necessarily do the bold, but I will do the alternative mouse mode and show all candidates. There's some other neat functions here, and you can learn a little bit more about all of that by going into this help menu and just look into the user guide. Also, I'm going to give you a lot of great shortcut hotkeys, and that's right here in this keyboard. And so if you ever like, hey, what key did you use? Just go right here and you can find that as well. But I'll show you the quickest way to kind of put some of this. There's a lot of functionality here in different ways that you can present a puzzle. So if I wanted to load a puzzle I already had, you go to this file and you would just open puzzle file. So I've uploaded a recent video. There's a puzzle called Cascade, and I made it into a Hodoku file. And so Cascade in any Hodoku file is going to have this cute little icon that looks like a Sudoku grid, and it's going to have a .hsol. If you click that on there, you'll see that it pops up. If you want to just see it clean without any of the candidates, obviously you can go here and remove the candidates. So that's how you would do it. Another feature that it has is it will tell you in this summary over here what techniques you need in order to solve this puzzle. And I'll talk about this a little bit later. All right, now let's say you want to just create your own puzzle that you have and you want to solve it. So what we do is we go to New Givens. It's going to say, hey, you want to delete this Sudoku you have? And yes, we do. And it's going to give you that grid. Make sure you show all the candidates. You have alternative mouse mode. And now I'm going to upload a puzzle. This is the training puzzle for round 7 of the Sudoku Grand Prix. And I love featuring these puzzles. And usually the training one is actually going to be a little bit difficult to work on. And so all I have to do is find which candidate goes in each of these blocks. I'm looking at a picture of it, and you just click on the candidate you want one time and it'll put that in the grid. Everything's going to show blue. If you make a mistake, you can just go backspace and it'll disappear. Okay, there's 8, 9, 2 in this grid, 4, 1, 9 here, and it makes a kind of nice circular pattern. That's why I chose this puzzle, and it also will be great to explain what we're trying to do here, and as I show you some of these features. All right, 8, 4, 2, okay, 6, 8, 7, 9, 4, 1. All right, in the middle, there's actually a lot of candidates already filled out. There's a 9, 8, 5 here. There's a 3 and a 7 here, a 4, 2, and a 6. Okay, after you fill this in, the nice thing, if you look down here on this little status bar, it went from X. You see how it goes to X? As soon as you put in enough candidates for it to make a valid puzzle, it will come up with a light color. This yellow, I'll explain that a little bit later. But basically, you have a valid puzzle in front of you. And now what you want to do is it's still in generate mode. You want to hit play game. Once you hit play game, it turns black, and now you can't remove these candidates anymore. You can't delete them. You can start filling in the rest of the grid. All right. Now, one of the cons I'll tell you, and this is awesome, is that this is only for desktop use only. They do not have a app for your phone as far as I know. So you do have to download it on the desktop. But if you sit on a computer and you want to work on this, the functions and features really make it worth it. And so kind of going some of the other features in the view here, if I just click Sudoku only, now we're not showing any of the side window. I'll tell you, I do like to show the side window because there's so much there that I want to share with you as we're working on this puzzle. All right, and so I'll get back here, and if you click on any of these four, then it will pop back and show you the side window. And I'm going to move this over a little bit just so that you can kind of see the text that's listed here. Okay, first you have the summary mode. The summary mode does is that Hodoku will solve the puzzle. That's why it knows it's valid. And it's going to tell you how many techniques you need, a full house, which is just 8 candidates filled out in a house, which is a row, column, or a block, and that you just got to fill in the last candidate. Naked singles, hidden singles, and then has one yellow strategy called a skyscraper, and that's why this circle is yellow. And so Skyscraper is an advanced strategy. It's hard, and that's what Hodoku used to solve it. So it's now the benefit of Hodoku. It will solve any valid Sudoku puzzle, no matter how hard it is, because it has one feature in particular, which is brute force, where the computer goes through every single candidate and tries it out and goes, okay, will this work? Will that work? Will this work? And if it has a valid solution, it will find it even well beyond what a human could normally find. And so I know if Hodoku found a valid solution, this is a valid Sudoku puzzle. If it didn't, it's not valid. All right. And by valid, we're talking about one unique solution. Okay, the thing here, solution path. Hodoku shows you what it did to come up with the solution path. And then the white shows the white level candidates, which are the easiest ones to find. And then the yellow shows that skyscraper. There's also a medium, which is green. Green is things like naked pairs and hidden pairs. And then there's some orange and red, which is the most advanced strategies. We're talking like alternate inference chains, swordfish, and then, of course, like the brute force and the forcing chains. Okay, I don't use the all possible steps, but I did want to get here to this active cell. So if you go to active cell, then if you click on a cell that has some candidates in it, you can see here that it'll give you the option to set the value. So if I click right here, I can just make that a 2. And you'll see right now in the way that Hodoku is set up, it will also automatically show you if that's an invalid value. Okay? And so if we get rid of this deviation or invalid values, then it won't show, it'll let you do that and make the mistake. If you show that, it will say, hey, that's not the right value there. So we can go back and you can try a 5 and you can go back and you can try a 9. This will set the value for you. I rarely use the set value. Now another thing, if you came in here and realized, okay, I can eliminate a 2 because the 2 can't be possible for this particular cell, then you can just go right here and click off the 2 and the 2 will disappear. Or the 5 and leave whatever candidate is missing. I will use that quite a bit. But there's another way to do that using the alternate mouse mode. And so if I go over that candidate and I just right click, it'll also disappear. That's why I like the alternative mouse mode. If you're in regular mouse mode, you got to click on it twice, and I'll show you here by going back to it. And it just takes a few more steps. And so if I want to get rid of this 5, now it pops up this whole window and you can exclude 5. So it's a right click and a select. And that just, to me, takes a lot more time. Why not just go right through much quicker with the alternative mouse mode? Okay, so you see here I'm using the back button, kind of fill all that in. If you click on these cells, you can color the cell, and you'll see there's a little icon next to the mouse, and whatever cell I pick, I'll turn it to that color. If you want to get out of it and turn color mode off, you go here, and so now I'm not coloring as I click on a cell. If you hit this R, which is remove, it'll remove all of the colors that you did. You can color cells multiple colors, so I can do that. And this is kind of the range that it goes. But I like to use an actual hotkey, and so if you type in the letter A, that's going to be this first color, orange. And it's also down here in the bottom left. If you type in a B, that's going to be purple. C is that pink. D is the kind of like the aquamarine. And then you got green is E. And so I'll use those hotkeys to turn these on and off. So you click the A again, and then it turns off. So I'm doing A. Now, if you want to remove all the colors, you hit R, and that removes all of the colors. Let's say you wanted to color multiple cells. Well, if you take Shift and down, which is what I'm doing, holding the Shift key and I'm going down, then I can color everything orange. Now, if I take the Shift key and go right, as I went down, now you see it covers all of those cells, and I can turn them all to purple if I hit the B key. Okay? And then if I want to remove that, great. Now, if you wanted to do individual cells across the grid, let's say I want to color all the 8s, for example. So I could click on all these 8s by holding down the control key along with clicking. So I'm holding the control key down, I'm doing all the clicks, and then I select the color I want. In this case, I want to make them purple. I can hit the B and make them purple. All right, so that's some fun features of Hodoku. I do like using this side window to kind of help me out with that. So we'll keep it up here for now. And now what I'd like to do is kind of go over the bottom part of Hodoku here. This is going to help you figure out why I love it and why it's so powerful. So let's say you just don't know what to solve next in this puzzle. You can click over here and click on Next Hint, and it's going to give you a cell. It'll give you what it thinks you should solve next. And so in this case, it pops up and it says, oh, this is a naked single right here. And so you can either solve it by clicking on it, or you can hit the Execute button. If you hit Execute, then it will solve that cell. All right. If you go back, you get next, and it says Full House 1 right here. If you don't want to solve, you want to remove it, just click the Cancel button and it'll go away. Nice. Now this solve up to is important. Basically, you have to first identify a particular strategy that you want to solve up to, and it'll solve the whole puzzle up to the point of what you want to solve. And so what you need to do is go into either learning or practice mode, and I'll explain more about this a little bit later. Go in here and select the particular strategy that you want to find. And so what we want to find is a skyscraper. We know there's a skyscraper in this puzzle. So if you're like, okay, Hodoku, just solve all the way up to the skyscraper. And so I hit solve up to, it's going to get us to the point where a skyscraper is needed. Pretty nice, huh? And now what I can do, if I want to find that skyscraper, is we can kind of work our way through the top part here. All right, so what the green does is it'll show you, if you click on a candidate, the green will show you the possibilities for that candidate too. If you go to pink, it'll say all the possibilities that are not a candidate too. I'm almost always using the green. Okay, so I can look here. It didn't tell me which particular candidate was a skyscraper, so I have to kind of look through on my own and see if I can find a skyscraper pattern for these different particular candidates. Okay, I'm looking at the 3, and so now it highlights all the 3s that are possible in this, the empty cells. Okay, I look for 4, it's not there. I look for the 5. And do I see a skyscraper in the 5s? And yes, I do. And so if I wanted to show the skyscraper, what I could do here is color these cells as the base, and then these are going to be the tips. It's an upside down skyscraper. And don't worry if you don't know what the skyscrapers are. I've made tutorials on that, and you can use Hodoku to start to learn for those. But if you're just getting new in Sudoku and you want to solve the tough puzzles, like most of the ones featured in the Sudoku Grand Prix, download my free solving guide. I give you not only the definitions for the 7 top strategies, but I give you diagrams for solving, and I also have a video where you can check your answer. It's completely free. Check the pinned comment below. All right, so this is my skyscraper, and what a skyscraper means is that with these 5s, that either 5's here in the purple. If it's not here, then this would have to be a 5. This would not be a 5, and then we could solve this cell for a 5. So one of these blue cells has to contain a 5. Okay, and since we know that, we can eliminate a 5 from any cell that sees this cell and this cell. So we can eliminate a 5 from right here, and we'd be able to solve this cell for a 7. So if I just click on it, I did a right click to remove the 5. You do a left click on the 7, it will solve that cell for a 7. Okay, so that's how I use the solve up to mode, and that's how I can figure out the next part of the solve. All right, if you want to just color candidates instead of complete cells, I go down here in this bottom and I'll pick, first you look right here, and I'll toggle now to candidate. And then let's say I just want to highlight every 5 that is a conjugate pair, which means there's only 2 of them in the row, column, or block. So I click this to candidate, I click on the color I want, and this will show you what color it is. And then I go here and go, well, there's only 2 5s in this block, so I'll color them. There's only 2 5s in this block, I'll color them. There's only 2 5s in column 9, so I'll color them. 2 5s here in column 7, and 2 5s in the block and in the column here. Okay, got 2 5s here, and I can actually solve this cell for a 5. So if I click on here and I type in a 5, it'll solve that for a 5. And now I can actually solve this for a 5. And you see what I'm doing? So I can use the coloring to help me figure out cells to solve in this puzzle. Awesome. So that's how you use the color mode. And then if you just click on a different color and you look for the icon, I'll show you that you can color those candidates that you left click on, you'll solve. And you'll do it. And just click on it again to remove the candidate. And if you just got too much clutter on here, just hit the R hotkey and it'll remove all those colors. Okay, so I use that quite a bit. Hard will tell you, the initial rating of the puzzle, and you'll see how this color went from orange, or actually yellow, down to white. And what that means is that the hardest strategy left is only white. It's only going to be a naked or a hidden single. It's going to be one of these white ones over here. And 16% means you only have 16% of the puzzle remaining. Because we solved all the way up to that spot of the skyscraper, it gives you a percentage, and you work your way down as you solve each new cell. So I solved that for a 7, solved this for a 7 because it's the only can remaining, solved this for a 2, and you see how it works down percentage-wise. And then it says, what kind of mode are you in? Learning and skyscraper. Awesome. Okay, let's go and let's talk about these modes a little bit, right? So let's say you want to do a completely new puzzle. If you click right here, this will create a new puzzle. It'll be hard, and it should have at least one skyscraper. And yes, it does have one skyscraper, because what you want to do is when you go into learning mode and you select particular strategy you want to learn, it will create a puzzle that has that strategy in it. It might create some other harder puzzles, but it'll create a puzzle with that strategy. And if I just keep clicking that, it'll keep giving me different puzzles to solve. Okay, and then I kind of went through here. This is where you highlight the different candidates. So 2, 3, 4. It's saying that there's no 1s in this puzzle and there's no 5s in this puzzle anymore. It's been solved all the way up to the part where you need the skyscraper. Okay, and it does that if you're in learning mode. If you're in learning mode like we are, every time I click a new puzzle, it's going to take you not only to the puzzle, but right where you get the skyscraper. So right now, I know I could look for a skyscraper in this puzzle and I'll find it. And if I can't find it, I can click on next hint. It's going to tell me where the skyscraper is of 9s. And then it's going to ask if you want to execute that. You want to execute it, then it'll do that and will remove those 9s. So that's awesome. Now, if you go into practice mode, it's very similar. You can still select a strategy like the skyscraper, but when you click on a new puzzle, it's going to be a puzzle from the beginning. Okay, so in practice mode, it gives you the puzzle from the beginning, and you can work your way all the way through the puzzle to get to the skyscraper, see if you find it. And if you just like, I'm tired of solving these individual cells, I just want to click solve up to, get you all the way to that point where the skyscraper is needed. The practice and learning modes here are just awesome. You will learn strategies so quick by using this. This is how I learn the advanced strategies that I teach on my channel, Smart Hobbies. If you like this video, please like, subscribe to get more great content, and you will solve Sudoku even better. If you want someone else who's new to Sudoku, share it with them and see if they can learn it as well. Now, if you're just in playing mode, then if you click on a puzzle, it will click on any puzzle that you can do. It may or may not include a skyscraper. This one just happened to include a skyscraper, but it's a standard mode and it won't look for those particular strategies you're trying to learn. All right. Other things I want to show you is you can click and highlight the different cells here, but if you go to this XY, it'll show you all the buy value cells, the BVCs. And this is helpful if you're trying to figure out some advanced strategies like XY chains or XY wings that use just buy value cells. You can click on those and see if there's anything you can do with just the buy value cells. So with Hodoku, it's free, which is amazing. It will solve any puzzle you put in there and tell you if it's valid or not, which is awesome. And it has this lightning fast way to get better at Sudoku using the practice and the learning modes. Now, you can't do this on your phone. You got to put it on a desktop. And the other con is there's no way to get a solving link to somebody. So if you put a puzzle in here, you can't submit a solving link for someone to go on here and solve it through Hodoku. They have to go on Hodoku themselves. You can export certain files, like text files to somebody of a puzzle, but that's why I changed all my puzzles over to Sudoku Pad so that you can solve them on your phone as easily as on the computer. You want to learn some more new Sudoku strategies? Check out this playlist. Please consider supporting me on my Buy Me a Coffee page. I really appreciate it. I'm using that support to not only get better at making video content like this, but also to grow the Sudoku community. Thank you so much for watching.